Hey guys, Dark Prometheus here. Welcome back to some more with Bears with Dark. We had a big game. A little hot and cold game, but a big game here with a win to move the Bears to 8-3. So let's do a little bit different with this and go with the overarching storyline of what the Bears and the Steelers have. Primarily Bears with this. Moving to 8-3. That puts the division after a still win by the Packers, beating the Vikings, and the Lions beating the Giants in overtime. Bears hold their destiny right now. Won 4 in a row. Packers won 2 in a row. Lions, after losing one, are back to their winning ways at 7-4. Bears are in a lead by a half game over the Packers and by a game over the Lions. Still have to play Packers twice. Remember that might be the division. The 2 games against the Packers and the 1 game against the Lions might be the division between these guys. But also, I think the Packers also have to play the Lions once more. And then don't forget, they also had the Ravens in here. Broncos, which might be a hard team as well. So not an easy schedule to end the year for the Packers. The Lions, they go again, obviously the Packers. Cowboys, Rams, not an easy game there. Steelers, this should be with Aaron Rodgers back, so who knows what that is, but that is in Detroit. There's one then, and end the year with the Bears. And then for the Bears, they go into the fact that, I think I have to do this the long way. Like this. Bears, you have the Eagles, 2 games against the Packers, Browns, 49ers, and Lions. So a little bit easier maybe, but still, it's going to come down to these 3 division games, probably for the division. And maybe the Bears, and also maybe this Browns game. So Eagles choking over the Cowboys does help the Bears a little bit. And Eagles can find a way to lose, the Bears can find a way to win. Maybe something that can happen there, but that is for Wednesday's video or Thursday's video for that one. So overarching in this game itself, Caleb getting DJ Moore going at 64 yards of 5 catches, 2 touchdowns, some good stuff. One particular play, it was great from a coaching standpoint. And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, as this game wore on, there were some big plays that were made, and it was because of the coaches putting Caleb in a position to be able to make the play. So that one play I'm talking about, DJ Moore in his second touchdown down the seam. You have, and this play is made at the line of scrimmage. It's made pre-snap. Luther Burden moves from north to south on the screen. So it moves from the top end of the formation down to the bottom. Stretches out the corner to be off of man coverage, or at least a man zone coverage of DJ Moore. And it's not relayed to the safety. So you have an ISO essentially down the seam. You have Luther Burden running a streak. Then you have Rome Odunze putting an in post. In deep, well, not a post, a deep crosser, and pulling the safety to him and leaving that gap open to DJ Moore, wide open for a touchdown. This is how this game was put, though. On the flip side, the linebackers made the plays they needed to, but also the inexperience of starting on the defense kind of showed. A fake tush push towards the end of the first half. Prime example of that. They stopped a tush push earlier in it. It was technically got the first down, but it was blown dead off forward progress. This one, I do a fake tush push because the Bears are honed in on it so well. It's tossed out, and it's a big Kenneth Gainwell scamper almost for a touchdown. Drive results as a touchdown. And that's just not marking up men on defense to be able to take it to where you are marked up and you account for that guy on a fake play. Little razzle dazzle out there also I liked from the offense. Double end around, I think it was, to make a good play for Luther Burden. So I liked where this was ultimately, how this team's growing. Still some issues though. Caleb missing passes, overthrowing Romadunse, overthrowing, I think it was Luther Burden, overthrowing, I believe, DJ Moore once. So there's some things that Caleb still needs to clean up. Overall, though, victory Monday. What can you say with it? Going through that, Kyle Monangai had a great game. Swift just couldn't get it going, but also this is a very good run defense, and it shows that. They were banged up a lot in the secondary, though. Pierre was banged up, and he had to go in and out of the game a couple of times for the Steelers. So they were able to key in on this. This sack, though, another thing that Caleb needs to get better with. You got to throw the ball away when you're like that. You're in your own end zone. Throw the ball away. You can't give up a sack to give 2 points. You certainly cannot give up a fumble for a touchdown when you're already outside the tackle box and you could just throw it. Just throw it. So it kind of is what it is from that. So when you come out with a win, you gotta win, even if it is against a backup and not Aaron Rodgers. So go through each phase of the football, and I'm going to write this down as opposed to forgetting, because I forgot to do this last time. And for the offense, Caleb wasn't all there today. It did have that sack, it had a pretty good rating, but still under 50% or just above 50% on his completion percentage. At the end of the day, though, Caleb comes through. You have some good line of scrimmage movements. You win the football game. You still can't wind out the clock late when you have the ball with 2.5, 3 minutes to play. You're not doing that, and the defense has to come through. But at the end of the day, you came through. I'm going to give it a B. I think the offense deserves a B. You got to win. It was a more cleaned up play, but there's still a lot more to clean up. Also, Ozzy Trapillo at left tackle came through and played great. He played great. Could we see Ozzy Trapillo take over that position and go forward? Maybe. So my prediction was probably off 5 weeks or multiple weeks, but still, Ozzy Trapillo looked good at left tackle. It was great. Then Newman came in at left guard after Jonah Jackson got poked in the eye at the line of scrimmage, and he had to come out for some snaps. And Newman played great at right guard. So some good draft picks, some good staff out here making some good evaluations. So I love it. On the defense, I'm going to give them a B plus. B plus. And the reason why I'm going to give them a B plus is we scroll down. DeMarco Jackson out there doing the work. Had 5 tackles, 10 assists. I think it's 15 total tackles. Ahmed did get banged up later. Had 14 tackles in total at that point. Was great. Nahshon Wright tying the league lead in interceptions with the crazy interceptions. And guess what? Guess who's the league leader in interceptions before that? It's none other than teammates Kevin Byard. Teammate Kevin Byard was leading the league in interceptions. Now Nahshon Wright is up there as well. You had some big plays, though. Montez Sweat coming on strong finally. 2 sacks, 1 strip sack with that. Had a fumble recovery there. That was funny because Dexter's trying to pick the ball up, but still, fall on it, Dexter, please. So that was great. Nick McLeod coming out. When Stevenson went out with that hip to shoulder injury that he's been dealing with, he had to come out of the game. Nick McLeod out there being scrappy, did get a couple penalties called on him, but came out and played well against the receivers he had to come out and play against. Nahshon Wright locked up what slowly became an injured DK Metcalf as time went on, but you got to come through and you got to play. It was great. It was great with that. So, yeah, I'm going to give the defense a B+. Give them a D+. They finished the game, and the only real thing I could say that they failed on would be the fake tush push one. So one play out of all of that, I felt like they played pretty well across the board. And the next man up, it was actually, they were really prepared for this team. And it just forced them, the Steelers just were out of sync the entire game with this. I think this goes to show that if Caleb doesn't give up that fumble and the defense isn't on the field as much, not because of the offense, just because of the long drives the Steelers could do, because all they could really do was run the football for chunks as opposed to actually pass the ball downfield for big plays. The defense was getting worn out, but that's it. On the special teams, I thought we were pretty good in special teams. Duvernay didn't have any punt returns. Santos made his field goal, made the extra points. Torrey Taylor had a couple of good punts. It was pretty good with that. Duvernay got lit up a couple times with a penalty, though, that kind of helped that for in the punt return. So I'm going to give them a B as well. Special teams gets a B. And for the coaching. And I think this goes to show what the emphasis here. Yes, both teams good on third down efficiency. Total plays, Steelers had more. Sacks allowed, you had punts. Penalties, still need to clean that up. As a coaching staff, fumbles lost. Bears did lose more. I think in the turnover portion, I think they ended up having some issues, but at the end of the day, red zone attempts of both teams, a very good red zone efficiency. We move over to a more breakdown. When you look at it, sacks good. Rushing in here, as you see here, Steelers had 186 yards rushing. Did have 36 rushing attempts. That's how they could actually move the football. But at the end of the day, you got to do something, and the Bears did enough to win this game. I felt pretty good by it. So the coaching, I would give it I would give it a B. It's B's across the board. And the reason why I'd give it a B is just you felt that the Bears were in control of this game even when they were down. It was a good point to push to get the field goal before the half ended. You went through and you had some good matchups, some pre-snap matchups. You threw the ball downfield. Caleb did miss a couple of balls, but then your running game, you recognized that your running game wasn't working, so you went to the screen game, you went to the short passing game, the crossing game, the end around game. You went to other things as opposed to just sticking and trying to run the football, because I felt like the first 2 to 3 weeks when they couldn't run the football, they were just trying to just shove and run the football. When you couldn't run the football, you started doing more things like screens, end arounds, things like that to kind of get the Steelers to spread out, not pass rush as hard and blitz as hard. In one particular play, it's a dump off. It doesn't go for a first down. I think the Bears end up punting or a field goal. I think they end up punting. But they throw behind the defense on that after taking it back, and, well, it comes down to the fact that you throw it behind the blitz into a screen, you're going to have some good plays and gets the defense second guessing. I did forget one thing that Caleb has to clean up, and that's why I gave him a B on offense. There was a part where that end drive that you could not get that first down. Caleb's looking at the defense. And he recognizes, I think they audible out of that in that play. But ultimately, at the end of the day, nothing really comes of that because Caleb, you got to take a timeout. They took the 5-yard penalty. The next play goes for 2 yards short of the line to gain on 3rd down, and you pump back to Steelers to give them a chance. If you don't like the play you have, call the time out. Just call the timeout. You're not wasting clock at that time because I believe the play before that was an incomplete pass or he was forced out of bounds, either or. But at the end of the day, you're not running clock there. Just take the timeout. You take the timeout, you get the play you like, you go out there, you execute it. And if it's that same play there that you call the next time, you get a 1st down, you kneel the ball out, and that's the game. You don't need to go in the drama of putting the defense on the field, even though the defense executed on there. The Kyler Murray insane jump, not Kyler Murray, Jaquan Brisker with an insane jump. I was thinking Kyler Gordon and Kenneth Murray, because I was watching the Eagles game earlier. And yeah, so on a Jaquan Brisker jump deflection, and they take to win the game. You don't commit that penalty there. You take the timeout, you convert the 1st down, the game's over. So you don't have the drama of the rest of the stuff. But you made the play to win the game, so you can't really harp on that. So that's why they're not up in the B+ region, is you gave them a chance, you could have closed it out, and some penalties just weren't warranted there. So this next game against the Eagles, all that video done and out on Thursday, or at least I will record it on Wednesday. Hopefully we get the injury report by Thursday, or if we don't have a good solid injury report by Wednesday, and there's still more reporting on Thursday, we'll do the video on Thursday and I'll put it out that night. But it's going to be a hard-fought game. It's the Eagles. They dropped this one to the Cowboys, allowed the Cowboys to come back to a 21-point deficit and win 24-21 off a field goal. But I think in that one, it was also a fumble by Saquon Barkley, I think, that ended up allowing the Cowboys to recover after missing a 4th down attempt at the goal line. I mean, the Eagles, if you can get going, if you can contain that run game, maybe you can get it. We'll see if Jalen Johnson plays this week. We'll see if Kyler Gordon plays this week. We'll see if TJ Edwards plays this week. And Johnson to say Edmonds will likely come back by the end of the season, or if they make the playoffs. So we're looking at a 4-game window for him to miss. These 4 games are packed. So if that is the case, and he was inactive on here, he would miss Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, and he would be back for the Bears home game against the Packers. Maybe, though, that window opens and he doesn't come back to play until that Lions game against the Bears. So I think it's all about what we'll see in this Bears team, this fight, the next man up. I think if you come out and Jalen Johnson's ready and Nahshon Wright's out there, I'm sorry, Tyrique Stevenson, you need to get healthy. It's Jalen Johnson. Maybe if he's on the snap count, Tyrique Stevenson, they're sharing snaps out there. You can't take out Nahshon Wright right now. The man is playing absolute baller out there at outside corner. He is going to play himself into probably a $10 to $15 million contract at this point. I think that's too expensive for the Bears. That also means that we need to get something more from Stevenson and all of these guys. But at the end of the day, Nahshon Wright coming out here and playing this big is nothing I foresaw at this point. And I do enjoy that he is playing that well. So, Jalen Johnson, please get healthy. We need you for this Eagles game. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can get some more reinforcements. And, yeah. We'll see you when we take on in that preview game against the Eagles. Bear down, and I'll see you guys later.